Tell us who you are, what you do, where you're from. Tell us everything.
Yeah, so my name is Shana Lang. I live in Maryland. I live in Rockville now. I did live in Columbia for over 22 years, but originally from Silver Spring, so kind of full circle back. I am an event specialist and run sales for Washington Talent. This is my 30th year. Actually, this month is my 30th work anniversary. And I have one daughter and a great boyfriend, and he has four kids, and we have a great family together.
And we have interviewed you before. So I love to do another interview because we are all about sustainability. So, a year later, you are so inspirational. So tell us your story, what was going on with your health and with yourself before you joined.
Probably right before COVID. I was in great shape doing my thing, didn't think I had any issues. I was doing a program that I love, and I actually still use their products today. And then COVID, right? COVID hit. Things were very stressful. I find that I use food to make myself feel better, right? Like most of us do. Our industry was crashing. We weren't working. I worked from home ever since my daughter, actually, the day my water broke was the day I started working from home, and now she's 18 years. So working from home when COVID was not a problem, but then they closed the gyms. That was kind of my outlet. That's where I went to see people and get my, get my workout in. That closed. So then slowly I start seeing my weight go up. I wasn't as active as I was. I was really just walking. With a lot of us were just walking. I didn't have much at home because I usually worked at the gyms. And I just started seeing myself slowly and slowly put on weight. We ended up moving to Rockville, I guess, in 2021, 22. We have a family that, either at work or family, we surround ourselves with food. Coming from a conservative Jewish family, that's what we do, right? We celebrate, we have food. We have any reason to have food, right? So, the relationship with food was very hard for me because I enjoyed food. We joke about it now that Rob and I fat each other up during COVID because it was stressful and we were home and it made us feel better. And you just don't realize until you see a picture of yourself, oh my God, who is that person? We went to Costa Rica and saw some pictures, and I said, no, both of us were just in a not a good place as far as health weight wise. I started having premenopause symptoms, mild hot flashes, just tired. What was working before was not working now. So I needed to change. I had been following you for a while, watching, and my friend Kira, who I saw a couple times, I figured, I trusted her. If she was going to find something that she trusted, I figured, what the hell? I got nothing to lose. So I made the phone call.
What were your biggest wins since you started from the beginning and then now a year later?
I mean, obviously the weight is always going to be your biggest win. I think when I first had my call, I think I remember saying, I'd love to just lose 30 pounds. That was like, something that I never thought I would do again. I needed to get to that point, and then it just kept going and going and going. I realize a win, just the relationship with food, that I don't have to cut my favorite things out. I can eat what I want, just not all the time. And, my mindset of, has really changed over the years about, or over the year about what I can eat, how much I can eat, what I need to do it, and realizing that it's my own pace, right? As long as you continually do something the right way, you will get results. I think a win for me is it's a mind game. When you start seeing it go up, and then you guys showing me kind of like the scale of going up and down of what it's supposed to be, I said, oh, well, I guess I'm doing it right then. It's supposed to be that way. So that's definitely a huge win. Getting back into my clothes is a huge win. Seeing my daughter watch me and be proud of how healthy and fit I am.
Before you started with us, did you have any like fears, doubts, any of those? What were you maybe skeptical
Absolutely.
about?
I would say my two biggest things prior that I didn't want to do is track my food. That was
Uh-huh.
something that I knew, that I was like, I just knew before I made the call, if they're gonna make me track my food, I just know it. I just knew, and I didn't understand it before. It was more of a something that I had to do more. That I couldn't do it in my mind. The other thing was working out at home. I never did work out at home. It was always like, if I don't go to the gym, I didn't do it, or I just walked outside. And learning that walking just was not enough. So those were kind of my two biggest fears, and just not getting it done. I mean, I wanted to do something that worked, that I could keep off, and surrounded by a lot of people, doing the shots and things like that. Some for diabetes, which I understand. Some people just for weight loss. But I needed to fix my brain, even though I think that fat brain doesn't go completely away, but it does get better when you focus on, the mindset that you guys teach us.
So I love that. So you talked a lot about like friends who were doing GLPs and you were losing quicker than them. So tell us about how your fears kind of like were overcome a little bit and your uncertainties were overcome. And
Yeah, yeah. So, people of course ask you, what are you doing? Are you doing a diet? And I also didn't want to be the person that goes out and can't eat, or I didn't want to make what I was doing to change other people. I wanted to be able to incorporate what I was doing in my normal life. We entertain a lot. We're in the catering world. I surround myself with food and I enjoy food and I want to try other foods and I don't want it to be, something that I can't do, right? Now I'm not afraid to go away on vacation, and I understand that I can still make progress and it's at my own pace, but I don't have to be freaked out when the scale is 3, 4 pounds more one day versus next week, because it's going to go down. It's either salt or whatever the case is. There's so many other factors that you can't just go by the scale all the time, and you will continue to have progress if you follow it right. Most of the time, and that was a fear for me that if I didn't follow it completely, or if I didn't get this much weight off, is it going to work? Yes, it will continue to work if you bring it into your life. And I find that I stopped saying, I stopped correcting people because people are going to say what they're going to say, but diet, program, lifestyle, whatever that is, I explain to people that it's the stage that I'm in. No, I can't live on 1,400 calories a day for my life. But when I'm trying to lose weight, as you've taught us, if you're not calorie deficient, you're not going to have effect, it's not going to work. And that, trying to get it into my head, because a lot of programs focus on what to eat, not so much how much to eat. And learning that the correct way just makes you feel free.
yeah, talk to me about like feeling free and what changed from that mindset perspective, because we are all about eating as much as possible, being, you know, fueling up, nourishing your body. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always considered myself a healthy person. I've always tried to incorporate, carbs. I gotta eat carbs. I've tried that. I gotta eat it. I get, I work out a lot, so I get tired and it's just, and I'm not full enough, right? And that's when you start creeping in. I can't get all my carbs from veggies. It's just not enough,
Yes, thank you.
right? So, even the program before, it was always, I picked a protein, a carb, and a veggie. I didn't do the macros, and now I know I have to have a certain amount of protein and a certain amount of this, so I focus more on that. It makes my life a lot easier to know that I can go out and make the best choice that I can. I can't always track food when I'm at a catering event, but I kind of focus on protein, and I don't feel bad if there's not everything that I can't eat or can eat. I have, a fear that I had is, oh God, can I have, some drinks, but you have to limit it. I think you have to decide what's more important. Are the drinks more important, or how you feel and the way you look is more important? You got to make that choice. And when I started this program, I was raising a daughter, and COVID, going through a divorce from an alcoholic. You realize those choices are for the rest of your life.
I would love for you to share like your favorite part of being in this program.
And you and Sarah have a positive, but don't sugarcoat it. You tell us how it is, right? You tell us how it is. Be a big girl, put your big girl panties on, or don't, and don't complain, right? But at the same time, you help us when we need. You're always available, no matter what stage of the program that we're in. Food was always my crutch. Working out was never my crutch, and learning that I can't outrun a bad diet.
That's
or
right.
run an extra 200 calories so I can eat that donut. It doesn't work that way, even though I'd like to say I used to think that. So food, I think, when they say 80/20 rule, it is a real thing. Also, I think it's great to know, even though I knew muscle conditioning was so important, I think we are in an environment where they're cardio, 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 cardio. Everyone wants to run, 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 run it off. And as we get older, my ankles and my knees and things hurt the way they used to. Like, I'm turning 50, I don't feel 50, but when I wake up, I feel 50, because it's like, ow, so I gotta get myself going again. Things are not as easy, as you get older. So, it's just everything about the program. You give me my personalized workouts. I don't have to think about it. I go downstairs in the morning and I just get it done. Having surgery 5 months ago and having to rehabilitate from the bicep tendon repair, I had to start at zero. Without that weight loss, I don't think the surgery would have gone as well. And now I'm almost through PT, and they're confident from the program, because I've showed my PT what you guys have given me. They say, you're good. Here are the stretches. Follow the stretches. Keep doing your program. But without those things, I'm not sure I would have been able to get my arm the way it is now. And it's getting better. So I'm close to rebuilding my shoulder again.
What would you say to somebody who, has been following us like you for a while and they're thinking about doing the program, but they haven't pulled the trigger yet?
I would say, reach out and make a phone call. That the phone call is free. It doesn't cost you anything. At least you can get the information, and see if this is something. It is a health investment for yourself. And, I think no matter what program you do is an investment, and investing in your health, there's nothing better than investing in your health right now, because the alternative is more expensive. Getting sick is more expensive. With health, with the world the way it is, who knows what things will be. So I feel like making ourselves better and being a little selfish for ourselves in times like this is even more important, because you got to make yourself strong in order to do anything and take care of anybody in your life. So me is more important in many times than, in order to do the rest.